Good morning. Thank you for joining us live here on India Today's social media handles. I'm Akshita Nandagopal back again this morning to get you all of the top stories that we're tracking. Let me begin with stories that are being debated hugely on social media. First, Kangana Ranaut. Unsurprisingly, she's back in the news days after she referred to our freedom struggle, the independence movement, as weak. Now Kangana Ranaut, remember that she's not on Twitter. So on Instagram, she put up a number of posts where she raised questions of Mahatma Gandhi. In fact, she directly mocked him, saying, questioning his entire principle of ahimsa and saying that, if you turn your cheek towards someone, that's again weak. She's used that same reference again, but this time to refer to Mahatma Gandhi. But what Kangana has also done inadvertently is to start this massive debate about Mahatma Gandhi, because according to her, she says that you have to choose one side. One side is Mahatma Gandhi and Nehru, and the other is Netaji and Bhagat Singh. According to Kangana, Mahatma Gandhi in fact, wanted Bhagat Singh to be hanged. She's also said that, you have to stand on one side of the fence. You can't be supporting both heroes. That's what Kangana has said. And, it triggered a lot of reactions on social media. I really don't want to take a stand on this entire issue. But what I can tell you is that some agreed with Kangana, saying that, history has been distorted in a sense, and it essentially was a Nehru-Gandhi camp versus Netaji. And Kangana even said that, Gandhi wanted to hand over Netaji to the British. These are the statements she's made. Some have, disagreed, saying that both are heroes of their own right. Yes, they had different beliefs, but that doesn't take away from the fact that both contributed to India's freedom, to our independence. I also had a conversation with Netaji's daughter on this. Anita Bose has spoken to us here on India Today, and she essentially seems to suggest that Kangana is naive to put out this kind of a point, agrees that yes, her father Subhash Chandra Bose did have differences of opinion with Gandhiji, but was always someone who greatly admired the father of the nation, and that both of them are heroes because both of them fought for India and for its right to independence and freedom. So that's what Anita Bose has to say, and you can catch all the reactions that have come into what Kangana has said here on India Today as well. We're tracking that story very closely because this is not the first controversy that Kangana finds herself mired in. And remember that she already faces a number of police complaints over her comment that she made last week. There are complaints that have been filed in Maharashtra, in Jharkhand, in several places really, in Uttarakhand as well. There have been complaints that have been filed against Kangana for what she said and her statement that, the entire independence movement of 1947 was weak. And keeping that in mind, it's clear that that's not stopped her. She's used that word "bheek" again, this time to mock Mahatma Gandhi. Let us know also what your reactions are on that. The other trending story on social media is again a very controversial one, is again one that I'm not going to take a stand on. It's on Veer Das. The comedian, again, who's someone who's not new to controversy, has now gone viral over one clip of his video. This is one of his acts in the United States. It's a 6-minute video where he talks about the duality of India, what's great and what's not so great about India. And there's a clip of this where he talks about how he says that, we worship women by day and then women are gang raped at night in the same country. And this clip has gone viral with many slamming Veer Das, saying that you cannot generalize the country because of a few incidents. And there are many, again, who stand on both sides. Some have said, this is the need of the hour for us to confront what the reality of India is, that this duality does indeed exist in India. On the other hand, you have many others who are saying that, you're painting India in a terrible color abroad in the West. And you're defaming India, maligning India and its image in the name of comedy. They've also said that you can't generalize India based on some bad incidents or bad aspects of the country. So you've got both sides here putting out this entire perspective of what they believe is the rights of a comedian, of a stand-up comedian, and his rights to say what he believes, tolerance, freedom of expression, etc. The other side saying that, look, this is an attempt to gain popularity by maligning India. What I can tell you is that Veer Das, amid all of this, has also issued a statement where he is saying that his intention with, in fact, his entire monologue, the 6-minute monologue, was to remind India about how we're a great country despite all of the issues that we face. He's in fact put out a very detailed statement where he explains exactly where he came from and exactly why he made some of these arguments. And if I had to just sum up for you what he said in one sentence, the video is a satire about the duality of two very separate Indias that do different things. Like any nation has light and dark, good and evil within it. None of this is a secret secret, this video appeals for us to never forget that we are great, to never stop focusing on what makes us great. So that's the clarification that's coming from Veer Das. People of course stand on different sides of the spectrum on this entire debate, but you can catch that video of exactly what Veer Das said, the clip that's gone viral here on India Today as well, and the kind of reactions that have come in, because there are some very interesting ones from politicians too. Shashi Tharoor, for example, has spoken in favor of Veer Das. His colleague Abhishek Manu Singhvi has spoken against. So those reactions also are very, very interesting to note. It's trending on Twitter also. Veer Das is one of the top trends on Twitter as everyone is weighing in on this massive debate. But enough of really all of the social media buzz, all the stories that are doing well on social media. Issues that matter to you and me. The pollution crisis. Today again, the air quality in Delhi is very poor. Where I am in Noida, it's in the severe category. And the way things are progressing, with each passing day, the pollution levels are only getting worse, which is very, very worrying. The Supreme Court on Monday had heard this issue, and they lashed out at the centre, at the Delhi government, at different state governments, Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh. They pulled all of them up. It finally prompted some action, because you had all of them coming together and sitting on one table, sitting across the table to address and discuss what needs to be done, immediate solutions that need to be taken care of by every state government. Because so far, if you ask the Delhi government, they point fingers at Punjab and Haryana. If you ask them, they say that, Delhi is not doing anything about it. And then, of course, there's a whole blame game with the centre as well. What was important to highlight is that all of them came together finally yesterday and spoke because of the Supreme Court's intervention. Today again, the hearing will resume, and what we're going to see is proposals being submitted by the centre, by the Delhi government, as well as some other state governments on what they believe needs to be done. This proposal is something that the Supreme Court will look into. Also remember that the Delhi government, since the Supreme Court hearing, has announced that you're going to see construction activities being banned in Delhi till November 21st. The date has been extended, and we'll have to see if the centre is really happy with the kind of steps that have been taken. Thermal power plants, again a clampdown on ensuring that all 11 in the Delhi radius doesn't work. Only 5 of them are working. That's a step that the Supreme Court had proposed, something that the government has acted on. So we'll see how really that plays out in the top court as well. Here on India Today, we'll be getting you live updates of that hearing. 2 other stories I want to tell you about. One is that since the start of COVID, the Kartarpur Corridor, which is of course sacrosanct for Sikh pilgrims to make their way to the holiest Gurudwara for them, has been closed. It reopens today. I'll just quickly sum up for you the norms. One is that there is a cap on how many people can visit. Pre-COVID, about 5,000 people would come per day. Now it will be 100 to 200. You have to be fully vaccinated if you want to visit the Gurudwara. You will need also a negative RT-PCR test. You could be subjected to rapid antigen test by Pakistani authorities. Those are the steps being taken to ensure that COVID doesn't spread because of the reopening of the Kartarpur Corridor. But it's good to see that it's one of those rare occasions where you see no politics. The centre announced it. The Punjab government and all political parties have come on board and hailed the step. Another important update that you need to know this morning is that international travel has opened up now. There were a new set of guidelines that were released yesterday, based on which the centre has fully opened up international travel. Does that mean you can travel abroad? It essentially makes it easier for others to travel to India. Foreign tourists can now visit without any problem. Remember that for 20 months now, we've been seeing restrictions on foreign travel to India because of COVID. Cases have come down. I want to just talk about that also briefly after a bit. Cases have come down, which is why the centre has deemed it fit now to open up international travel. There are questions about whether it's the right move, timing, etc. Because while some experts have said yes, cases have come down, others are saying that look at the worrying COVID case surge in places like Europe. Won't that trigger directly an uptick really in cases in India? I also want to highlight for you a point that I mentioned earlier about COVID cases in India. Yes, it's come down compared to what it was. But I also have to highlight here that yesterday we saw 8,000 plus cases. Today it's 10,000 plus. So it is going up. It means that we simply cannot let our guard down. Yes, we're opening up, and perhaps that too is the need of the hour because so many livelihoods are at stake. But the fact that I gave you the data is just to put a reminder out there that we can't afford to let our guard down just yet. We're headed in the right direction in the fight against COVID. Let's keep it that way. Those are all the stories that we're tracking this morning here on India Today. All the latest updates on those stories, much more. You can log on to our website, keep tracking our social media.